Welcome everyone, it's Vapors of Drakemar. It's time for some more Raid Shadow Legends. I think we need a double damage dealer set up. Get past that. Last time we were messing around with Borgoth. In this episode, we're going to be continuing our journey through the Doom Tower. I still think it's annoying that the Arbiter skin doesn't come as a bundle pack because it's so annoying that I still don't have an Arbiter. Like, I don't think people understand how much it gnaws away at me knowing that I may never get Arbiter because of the way Arena is. But it's looking likely. It is definitely looking likely that I'm just never going to see an Arbiter because that's just what's going to happen. Keeping the decreased defense on them is pretty convenient here. Because yes, in the end, I want to make it to the top. I don't care what it takes. I want to make it to the top. I also got to gear up my crazy... I got to do Fire Knight to try to get more gear. I've been trying to get better and better Savage. I need a attack percentage Savage chest. Preferably at a very high percentage for my Dark Elhain. Because in the end of the day, I need a Magic Affinity Nuker, and I already have one built out. So I'm like, might as well try to do something about it. Trying to attack the guy in the back. The main reason is I do not need the guy in the back being a problem. I'm starting to think Demetha would be good in this setup, not just Ally Protect. Gotta get up to this floor. I mean, Akoth the Seer would be nice. We could, like, have him with, like... Here's the deal. In every Hydra, in order to do any significant damage at all, I need to have AoE HP burn of some kind. If I have to build 2 Ultimate Galax to do this, so be it. But without somebody to do that with. We're screwed. Now, I don't know what legendaries we're going to get next, but I'm hoping that I could get, well, okay, instead of hoping for a legendary, what I'm going to do instead, although I am hoping to get a spirit, nuker, legendary, high elf, something or other, and I'm going to keep playing this game until I get it. That's the thing. I don't care if it takes years. Eventually, one of my accounts will get it besides Magnar. Granted, I am happy my other account has Magnar, and I'm still working on his gear. But if we can get a second Magnar, maybe not a legendary. Legendary is probably too much to hope for. I'm still hoping for one, but like, actually, I kind of already have one, but I didn't realize it. I'll be able to hatch Cleopteryx next Clan War, and that's going to be my nice spirit nuker. But I am hoping to get another spirit nuker. I can use Outrider already. And you guys might be thrilled to hear that, because Outrider is he's an extremely effective champion with a very affordable price. Anyone can get him. The expensive part of him is getting the Savage gear. I have to get the right Savage gear, and that's in Fire Knight, which is it's the most expensive part of Outrider. It's not the the most expensive part of Outrider is not the champion. Anyone can get an Outrider. It's gearing him that's the problem. Not it has nothing to do with the actual champion this time. The main thing here is I like to cycle around to the decreased defense to make sure that you keep the waves in control. Now, Frozen Banshee is a pretty valuable boss killer, and I have her, but honestly, I already have a lot of boss killers. Honestly, I need more wave champs. Also, if I re-gear my Rosin, if I can find better gear for my Rosin, I can make him even more valuable than he currently is. He's already doing a lot of work for me, but he could do more. He could easily do more if I find a high enough stats for him. He could easily do more. Because gearing, I know this is going to sound dumb, but gearing is one of the hardest parts of unlocking your champion's potential. Because a lot of champions have very high potential if geared correctly. Outrider's one. Kale is actually one because he can actually nuke for 300k given the right Savage, which again is all the more reason to get Savage. Rosin can do it. There's a whole bunch of them. Syl even. I know you'd be like, what? Syl of the Drakes can nuke? Yeah, to an extent she can. With the right Savage, with the right stats, yeah. Like, there's a lot of champs that can nuke and do much better than normal given the correct gear. That's why gearing is a I'm just going to take the cold hearts out of the equation. Because the real issue here is that the cold hearts develop a lockout. And that lockout is what makes this particularly hazardous, not the actual... Valkyrie is one thing, but when they develop that lockout with the two Valkyries with the cold hearts, that's where the real problem is. You don't want to focus the Valkyries because it's going to take forever to kill them anyway. So that's a tip, pro tip, that I learned fighting in the trenches of Doom Tower as a free-to-play. Because believe it or not, it's actually very difficult to do what I've got to this point. Putting better Savage or Savage on this guy and better gear on this guy would have been really welcome by now. I honestly don't know if I can win without developing these further, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. I'm going to attack. That's a lot of counterattack. Thing I hate the most about this is the amount of Valkyries and Martyrs that we've got here. That is really what's wrecking it, that I don't have a Spirit Affinity. Okay, let's try it a little bit differently. So let's avoid buffing ourselves straight away. Let's take out yeah, I probably need a nuker that's like better. Maybe if I... So this is why I need like something to do more damage to them. Because my spirit lineup is mostly comprised of supports. And that's a bit of a problem, if you know what I mean. We're going to give it a shot with... Oh my god, that's so loud. Oh my god. I have to pause this just to close that. driving me bonkers. So loud and annoying. Dear Lord. Sorry about that. Someone's being annoying. Okay, I might have screwed that up already. Because, like, Deacon's great on this floor, don't get me wrong. But we just don't... I don't have the damage. Yeah, I do not have the damage to do this floor. That's the problem. I'm going to have to actually go in and develop my spirit nukers. Like, actually do it, not just say it, do it. Because at this point, that's literally the only way I'm going to beat that. Because right now, I don't have anyone to, like, you know, do damage to those waves that's properly built. That's what you need in the end of the day. You need someone that's going to do damage. That's spirit. So, if Jingle Hunter... I mean, Jingle Hunter can do it, I guess, if I had enough, like, attack on him. But reality of the matter is, I want to try to do it with Outrider, but he has no Savage. So I have to go get him Savage with proper attack. And then with that, we can do it. That's what that's my plan anyway. Get Savage with proper attack bonus. Generally speaking, you want to drop their turn meter a lot while you're at it. As yeah, Drexstar and Rosin are force, so I do need a spirit nuker after all. So it will be worth... Like, if I get a Magnar, then great, but I'm thinking at the moment I just have to I have to bite the bullet and help Outrider. Because I think Outrider is better than Jingle Hunter in a lot of situations. I know you guys are going to be like, why would you do that? Well, here's the thing I don't like about Jingle Hunter. He's not accessible to everyone. Not everyone even has him. The big advantage is not only is Outrider powerful, but he's accessible. It makes me look like less of a snob. Because, like, with me using Jingle Hunter trying to build him out, it makes me look like a snob because not everyone has him. But if I build a nuker out that everyone has, I don't look like a snob anymore. It improves my reputation. So that increases my... Now, if you're wondering why I might use Kale, Kale is accessible. I have multiple Kales on this account. I could build one in Savage right now. Believe it or not, I may get multiple Kales on all of my accounts. The only one missing multiple Kales is my third account that's also missing a healer, which is, it really annoys me, but it's the bitter truth. I'm thinking we can just take out some of that ally protect, then we can get them cornered. The real issue is we don't have any... Okay, there we go. Because we got to get that decreased defense on there. But yeah, Occult Brawler is terrible at wave clear. He's a great damage dealer for bosses, but like I showed you, he's not great with waves, and that wave content's very nasty. You need either a block, like you could do it with either a block buffs for spirit, or, because remember, it's spirit champs only, or a spirit nuker that can take him down before the counterattack. Because we do go first in that scenario. Now here we're going to want a Vogoth into the mix, because I am afraid of Foley. As we get up into the tower, yeah, and there's also Mashald. You really have to watch it. Now, we're going to have to target these Mashalds with everything we've got, because otherwise we are going to be wrecked. Now, I do want a Mashald. In fact, Mashald would allow me to beat that floor, but I can only expect something like a Magnar. Hopefully I get something like a Magnar in this account and able to build him out. And if I don't do that, we can build out Outrider. Like I said, Outrider has that advantage of being accessible. Even though people are not going to really recognize Outrider for what he is, which is actually a really nice nuker, even though he's an uncommon. They're like, uncommons are really bad. Yeah, they most of the time are bad, but there's a couple exceptions, and one of them is Outrider, and I might as well highlight him further once I get the Savage Gear, but then getting the Savage Gear in itself is an RNG heavy endeavor. But I do want to fully max out Outrider. To prove that point, I just have to get the Savage. Like, I'm not going to max an uncommon for no reason. Before people get the mistake, you'll max out any uncommon. No. That is a definitive no. Armiger. Maybe Armiger, Shield Guard, and Outrider, and maybe Saurus is it. That's it. That's the only uncommons I would even bother. And maybe Zephyr Sniper. Or Admonitor. For heals and ally protect. Just because I don't have heals and ally protect. And I need to emphasize how valuable heal and ally protect is. Because I normally would never consider those champs, except heal and ally protect. I need to emphasize how valuable heal and ally protect actually is. Because my other account cannot progress without heal and ally protect. Like, heal and shield champs, you don't understand how overpowered they are until you don't have them. And then suddenly, it becomes obvious. Oh, heal and ally protect champs are OP. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you. I'm glad those bombs didn't go off. If I had to cleanse them and if I didn't get rid of them in time, we would be screwed. There's a reason I'm targeting these Shazars, because I know that those bombs have a very high AD ratio. I remember telling Delta that, but it also hurts to mention that because I remember it was because I was overly competitive, but I knew this was always going to happen anyway because competitiveness runs in my blood. As anyone who knows me long enough will know that I am and have always been a very competitive player. Now, bye-bye, Ninja. Okay, so this team... We're going to try this setup, but there's a number of setups that we can do. As we go up the ladder, and before you tell me Elhain is not accessible, she is one of the few nukers I own on my third account. She's actually quite easy to get. Like, quite easy to get. Believe it or not. If you're wondering, why am I targeting the Shazars? It's because the bomb debuffs are extremely dangerous. That's why. Now there's a number of ways that we can approach this boss. This may not be the best method. It actually might have been better to do Syl in here, because Syl is a positive affinity versus the spider. That's the reality of the matter. We probably can still duo kill it, but it's a lot more dicey. In fact, this makes 0 sense. So what we're going to want to do, and we're not putting Ninja in the mix because everyone's going to get way too envious of him way too quickly. First I've got to check my Syl's build. Okay, it's all right. Because I know we need a reviver, and I know that the hallmark... Like, I know Ninja works in there, but the age of... The age of Ninja is over. So what we're going to do is we're going to try a simple Elhain team, and then we're going to try a more advanced team. Scylla the Drakes is useful here because she's both positive affinity. She is probably better built than my Godseeker, and is less vulnerable to the spiderlings. See, because then we have double wave clear here. And double backup cleanse. So that, generally speaking... Now I don't know if he strips the buff straight away, but the additional healing of Syl gives me a lot more safety. And then the Kale nuke. There is other ways of doing this boss. I think she needs more resist or spirit host or more HP or both. Because our support units should not be dying off that quick. That's the main problem and takeaway of this. As you can see, though, Syl is still really powerful versus Nether Spider. Yeah, generally speaking, you do want cleansers in here in the mix, because you do not want either of your DPS to get overwhelmed. Elhain is the backup. Now, I do have to check his gear, though. His gear is a problem. I'm trying to avoid triggering the spiderlings because I know that the spiderlings will murder me if I we're gonna want to go for Valley of Death to clear out the spiderlings. So otherwise we're dead. There we go, perfecto. There we go. That's how we want to do it. Now notice why I took Ninja out of the picture, because I knew that no one's going to be able to get him anymore, and thus talking about him is not worth it. He still can be used versus Nether Spider if thou art choose. If you have him, yes, you can use him. But don't cry to me if you don't have him, because if you don't have him, just use the team I used before with Elhain and Kale, both of whom are not hard to get. Now, there is a number of teams you can use versus the Nether Spider, but that's what you saw there is probably one of the most budget because Syl is involved. Now, since this guy has become a lot more important, I've got to start buffing his gear. Or at least trying. There's a reason I gave him HP boots and everything. It's to make him tankier. Because the bitter reality of the matter is you want him to have a lot of health and resist. As high as you can go. In the next episode, we will be continuing up the ladder. I'm going to do a Fire Knight again. Because... No, I don't want... Okay. So... we'll be doing this Fire Knight as well. Just to prove that I was doing some of the Fire Knight tournament, and we'll be doing more in the evening. I do have to do more Elden Ring. I almost said Elder Scrolls Online. I used to play that game at nauseum. Trust me. Elder Scrolls Online is extremely addictive, very much like Elden Ring. They're very similar games. Except Elden Ring is arguably harder. Don't ask me why it's arguably harder. I don't know what on earth possessed them to make Elden Ring probably the hardest video game I've ever played in my life. But they did. They did. And you're like, isn't Raid harder? Yes and no. It took me 30 hours to beat a boss. 30 hours to beat one boss. And it wasn't even a major boss. Like, it wasn't even a dungeon boss or anything. Like, I know you're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, no. Elden Ring is not a joke. I will be lucky to not die 1,000 deaths trying to do the wow you hurt. One thing that's rough about the higher things of Fire Knight is keeping any of your charges alive. I don't think I can do the spirit one without multi-hitters. Like, I have to change my lineup up, and I have to use some kind of... Another thing is I have to up my accuracy on my Cold Heart at that point, because at that point, she's going to be the main source of healing reduction. It's not going to be anybody else. Not to mention practically endgame wave content. Now, if I get a multi-hitter or something that's a spirit affinity with a heal reduction of any kind, I'll consider it. I mean, I guess there's an opportunity to build a second Cold Heart with accuracy that is like just pure accuracy gear. Just pump her accuracy to the ceiling. I am considering doing that now that I think of it. This is the hardest Fire Knight I have ever fought in the history of this game. Once again, the other one, again, I'm gonna need another new setup because it's a force affinity. Oh no, a spear affinity. Probably my weakest affinity. Fire Knight. Now, Mashald could change the Fire Knight. But to what extent, I don't know. That's the problem. But again, I haven't gotten a Mashald yet, so I can't tell you. If I do get a Mashald, you be bet my bottom dollar I'm going to be maxing him above all else. All other projects are put on hold if I get a Mashald. For obvious reasons. Not that the game has ever given me one. Or a Magnar. Either one. Magnar is far more likely on this account because he's an epic. And epics are nowhere near as rare as legendary champions, which have stupidly low drop rates. That doesn't mean that I don't want a Mashald, but the likelihood of me actually getting one is stupidly small. So that's why it's better to hope for Magnar or some other epic that does a lot of damage. For Arena. Especially for Arena. Arena is my biggest weakness. Arena and Fire Knight. Like, get something for Arena and Fire Knight that does ridiculous. Because Spider, we have Spider. Spider we've got down. Because Spider, I've got a whole squad on Spider. One thing that's convenient about this team I've got here is that the Fire Knight is kind of trapped. Because Vizier can continuously increase the buff duration. Now, I don't run this setup on auto because I have to keep a very close eye on Vizier. Because he can die in this setup. There we go. Perfect. Ooh, a new record. I'll take that. I'll take that. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all later.